was able to share an elevator pitch numerous times, but there's a couple that come to mind, and they both happened in Congress. I was on a panel and we were talking to members of the House of Representatives about gun violence prevention solutions. We each had 10 minutes of the panelists. There's about 5 of us, and we were going to talk about our different policy proposals. A number of the panelists went, they got their full 10 minutes to go. And then, if you've ever been in the United States Congress, it's clocks everywhere with these buzzers on them. And the buzzer went on one of these clocks right before I was supposed to speak. And what the buzzer means is every member of the House has to move from where we were in the basement of the Capitol to the House floor to make a vote. And so they looked at me and said, "You only have 2 minutes and not 10 minutes." And so I had to condense my 10-minute talk into 2 minutes. And I was really glad that I had a quick elevator speech ready, because I had to introduce myself, why what I was talking about was relevant, and then get the points across. And, it wasn't a perfect elevator pitch, but it was the opportunity to learn to really get what you need across in 2 minutes instead of 10.
So I've done elevator pitches for a number of purposes, but what I want to stress is that sometimes there will be an opportunity to give an elevator pitch when you don't expect it. So it helps to be prepared before you are in front of someone who might be able to help you. Recently, I was at a gathering and began talking with the person next to me, essentially giving an elevator pitch about a project I'm doing at the state level. And the person ended up knowing the governor and offering to help if I needed. So you really never know when you might have an opportunity to launch into your elevator pitch.
One of the realities I have is that you never know when you need to pull out that elevator pitch. And one of my favorites, it actually happened fairly recently. I'm at Dulles Airport. There's a flight delay. I'm sitting at a table, places getting crowded, and I like to go hide in the way back where nobody is. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden this guy comes up to me and says, "Can I sit with you?" And I'm like, "Sure, fine." I'm kind of thinking, don't talk to me. I'm not going to talk to you. And I look up and I realize it's Senator Sherrod Brown from Ohio. And he is a huge champion on a lot of public health issues and financial security. And I'm kind of like, how do I use this moment? And it was a great one to know, okay, I can go back in my little storage space here, because I've thought about elevator pitches and I have them on the ready for whatever issue it is that I'm working on. And we ended up having a phenomenal, great conversation, engaging in a way that you're ready for the unexpected is the best thing you can do.
A second instance was also in Congress. I was talking to senators, and they were working sort of on the policy agenda for a new Congress. So they invited a bunch of quote unquote experts to come talk to them about gun violence prevention policy. I was on the panel. I had about 10 minutes to talk, and I started my discussion. And I realized about 30 seconds in that all these senators who are very busy start looking at their phones, figuring out where they have to be next, talking to their aides. And I realized if I go 10 minutes, I'm going to lose the audience. So I realized I better get this down to 2 minutes. I was able to do it. I got my points across because I practiced. I knew what my points were. I can make sure that the legislators knew who I was, why this mattered. Practicing that quick presentation, getting everything you need across in just a few minutes so you can build that relationship with the legislator is just so important.
Know your strengths and lean into them. Structure your elevator pitch in a way that is authentic and natural for you. This will look differently for different people, and that's okay. So for example, some people might want to share an anecdote about themselves or about someone they know who is personally affected by the issue you're talking about. Other times you might not have a personal story, or it might feel uncomfortable to share. That's okay. Focus on what feels comfortable to you so that you can feel the most confident with the information you're sharing.
This can be a challenge if your engagement with that policymaker is kind of serendipitous, but usually you're having that elevator pitch, that first engagement, you're going to be meeting with that person. Do your homework every single time. Know who that person is. What are their issues that they're focused on? What are the concerns that their constituency has at that moment? It's knowing your audience. And in this case, it's often one decision maker, one policy maker, so that you tailor your elevator speech to be something that you think might resonate with them. That's your best bet.
When you're talking to a policymaker, it's very important that you know something about the policymaker. Where do they live? What's their district? What matters to them? How do you communicate with them with emotions or facts that will resonate for them personally and for their district? And so one of the things that I like to do when I do an elevator pitch is remind them of why they think this is important. So when I'm talking about gun violence prevention, it may be that, for instance, there was mass shooting in their district, or I happen to know they care a lot about children. They are children's advocates, champions, or whatever it is. I want to make sure that I'm linking my pitch to things that I know they already care about and making it relevant. So what you're doing is you're reminding them of what they care about and how your issue links with their concerns.
The best thing you can do when presenting your information, your facts, is be minimalist. 1 fact, maybe 2. 3 if it's really short and succinct, but you really need to be careful. Don't throw numbers at people. We in public health love our numbers, but be really judicious. Pick the one thing that you know would be compelling to them, not to you, to them.
I like to take the most salient fact that I know about, and I want to use that fact, but I want to wrap it in narrative or storytelling or social math. So it's not to give a barrage of statistics. It's to give one statistic, one fast fact, and then make it relevant by illustrating why it matters through social math or great storytelling.
Edit yourself. I recommend being very selective with data and statistics. It's tempting when you're in the weeds on an issue to share too much, but when you pepper the listener with too many figures, it's likely that they won't stick at all. Ask yourself what is the one most compelling data point that relates to your ask and what you think is important to them and what they care about.
I recommend following up quickly. Oftentimes, legislators are extremely busy. They're going to go on to the next thing. They're going to get maybe 10 other elevator pitches that day or 10 other asks that day. So if you have an opportunity, if they've given you a card and say, call my office, or they've given them the name of their scheduler, don't wait a couple of days. Take advantage of that immediately. Strike while the iron is hot. Make those appointments as soon as you get the opportunity. And I mean within the same day or at least the next day. Don't let it wait too long.
I find that it's easiest to lay the groundwork for the follow-up within the elevator pitch itself. You want your ask to be as specific and achievable as possible so that the follow-up can help move that along and build upon your momentum. If it's too general or too big of a task that the person doesn't know how to even respond or if they can do it, then it's easier for that person to drop the ball and not follow through.
Follow-up is key. The one-pager that you follow up, you can email to them, you email to their staffer. You can ask who to contact because you may hand them something, but that gets left behind on the table. If they ask you a question and you don't know the answer, say, I'll get back to you on that, and make sure it's within a day or 2. Follow-up is key. Persistence is key.